Hey everybody, sorry, I'm just adjusting the camera. I am going to do a quick lesson on mixed numbers and decimals. So today we worked on decimals with the tenths and the hundredths place, without whole numbers. So today, we're gonna work on mixed numbers, which is a whole number and a fraction, converting those into decimals. So, to start off, I am going to start off with a problem that looks like this, okay? So I have 1 and 4. Now remember, when we read decimals, we read the last place value that we see. So the last place value that we see is the tenths place, okay? So when I write this as a fraction, my whole number is going to be the number before the decimal. So in that case, it's going to be 1. Okay? Now, when I write my fraction, my denominator is going to be the last place value I said, which is the tenths place. So my denominator is going to be 10, and my numerator is going to be the number in that place. So we have 1 and 4 tenths. Keep in mind on this assignment, you do not have to simplify the fraction, okay? You can just leave it as is. Let me do another example. Sometimes you may have a number that looks like this. So we have 2 and 70. Now I notice my last place value is 2 spots after the decimal. So the 2 spots after the decimal is called the hundredths place. Now remember, when I say tenths and hundredths, they have a TH at the end. It's very different from the tens and the hundreds place. So I have 2 and 70 hundredths. So to find my whole number, I'm going to look at my numbers before the decimal, and in that case, it's 2. Okay? Now I'm going to write my fraction. The last place value I see, and the place value I read, was hundredths. Okay? So my denominator is going to be 100. My numerator is going to be 70 because it's 70 hundredths. Okay? I'm going to do one more example, and this one can be tricky, so make sure you pay close attention. Sometimes when we are looking at decimals, it might look like this, and this, as you might remember, can be a trick question. So on this number, we have 2 and 6, but remember, the 6 ends in the place value 2 spots after the decimal. So if it ends in 2 spots after the decimal, that's our hundredths place. Okay? So I'm going to write my whole number, which is before my decimal. In this case, it's 2. My denominator is going to be the last place value I saw, which is the hundredths, so 100. And then my numerator is going to be 6 because there's nothing in the tenths place, so it's just going to be 6. So 2 and 6 hundredths, okay? Don't get tricked and write 6 tenths. Actually, I'm going to do that as an example too. Remember, it would look like 2 and 6 tenths if it looked like this, because the 6 is 1 spot after the decimal, which is the tenths place. So writing this as a fraction would be 2 and 6 tenths. Okay? Today on your worksheet, you are going to have to convert decimals and fractions, okay? But, excuse me, decimals and mixed numbers. So go back to this lesson if you need to double check. Remember, our tenths is the first place value after the decimal. Our hundredths is the second spot after the decimal. Okay? If you have any questions, I'll have another Zoom meeting today at 7. All right? Miss you guys. Bye.